Good morning. I am here to review the Camskns camera skin that I installed on my Sony a7 III. About a month ago I did a video, or I made a video, I just haven't put it out yet. Still working on the editing of that. Got a little behind, but and I promised that I was going to review this in about a week, how the skin actually holds up. Like I said, it's been about a month. Things came up. As you can see, I'm in the process of moving, so there's a lot going on. But I did manage to use the skin quite a bit. About 3 or 4 weddings, a couple of headshots, a couple events I did. And I'll tell you what, this skin held up fantastic. There's not a whole lot of a whole big difference between the Camskns version and the AlphaGuard version, except maybe installation. There were a couple things on this Camskns camera skin that I can't say I didn't quite like, because there's a lot of user error involved with it. These things are time consuming, and you really have to pay attention when you're installing it and make sure you use some heat to get those edges down nice. But the very tiny edges that go around the buttons, let's see if I can get it to focus. Yeah, okay, here you go. Around these buttons here, they're very thin, and so if you don't get them down really good, they will eventually peel in the heat or just with use. Now most of my edges are starting to come up a little bit. I'm not too happy about that, but that's probably because I didn't put the entire skin on. So they come on sheets like this, and you got to take off each piece and put it on your camera. The cool thing about it is you can customize it however you want. So you can see I left the grip open because I felt that my hand didn't slide around as much when I left it just with the factory feel to it, the plastic or the rubber or whatever the heck this is. But when I put the vinyl wrap on this piece on my A7R4, it didn't quite feel as comfortable, so I left it off. But in doing so, I'm starting to get little edges that are peeling up. I don't know if you can see. Let's see if I can get it that in tight enough. Well, you can't really see, but right in here is where I'm starting to get edges peel up. And it's not that big of a deal. You know, it's just a vinyl wrap, and it's there for looks and for a little extra protection, and you know, it kind of adds a little flair to your camera. It's fun. So I'm not expecting a whole lot. But you do spend a pretty penny on it. You know, they're 50, 60 bucks a pop. So, but even so, I mean, you could probably go in with a razor blade or something and trim those edges off. Again, it's probably due to my installation that it's pulling up a little bit. I bet if I would have wrapped the entire camera, it would have held up a little better. But I haven't dropped my camera. You know, I baby my equipment pretty good. So, but in and out of the bag, I do use, you know, my neck straps, and it's flinging around all over the place, especially when I'm doing weddings. I might be carrying 2 cameras at the time, so it's just swaying back and forth on my side against my belt, or who knows. So you know, it could be wearing anyway. I just got done back from a trip from North Carolina, so I was on the airplane, in and out of the bag, getting thrown around a little bit, I'm sure. Plus different weather, different temperatures, different climates, you know, different elevations. I don't know how it reacts differently to everything, but it hasn't been wet. So but all in all, it's held up really well. It's a really nice protective layer to your camera. They're not very hard to install, they're just very time consuming, and you do have to pay attention a little bit. Now I know in my installation video I mentioned that I wouldn't necessarily use the heat, because they recommend either a heat gun or an air dryer, a blow dryer for your hair to seal down the edges. And you know, I'm always skeptical about putting that kind of heat next to my equipment, so I chose not to do that, and maybe that was one of the issues. But I think I would rather, me personally, I would rather take the chance of it peeling off and just having to trim it with scissors or a razor blade or something than to put that kind of heat next to my gear. But that's just me. I mean, there could be nothing wrong with it, or it could I mean, you putting that kind of heat next to technology doesn't seem like it would be that that good for your equipment. But maybe lenses are different. I don't know. But my camera bodies, these make us money, so I take care of them as much as I can. You know, like I said, I baby them, so I'm a little afraid of putting that kind of stuff to them. But anyways, so after about a month, this has gone through, you know, like I said, 3 or 4 weddings. I did an event up in Vermont. It was headshots for about 75 people, and it was rapid. I had to have it done in 4 hours. I think I actually only got about 3.5 hours worth of work time because people were running a little late. So I did that. I did some travel work down to North Carolina, out to Boston. So it's been around. This is my primary camera for you know, for headshots, weddings, stuff like that. Even video, just because it's so light, it's small. My A7 IV is awesome. Don't get me wrong, it's awesome. But I feel most of the time, unless I'm doing landscape or you know, cityscape, stuff like that, architecture, I feel that I go to this a little more, just because the files are a lot smaller. You know, I think this is like, I don't even know, 30 megapixels, something like that, maybe more. To be completely honest, I don't even know. I know my A7R IV is 61 megapixels, so those files are giant. So I tend to, and I shoot raw, uncompressed, so my files tend to be big. But let me get a little close up with this so you can see what the skin looks like. So it's a really nice design. I think this is their Cosmos or something like that. But it's a really cool skin. It goes on the bottom. Let's see if we can get a little better angle. Reaching over my table here. It goes on the back. So as you can see, you got to go around the screen, all these little buttons, all the buttons everywhere. So the pieces get a little thin. It gets a little tricky. Tweezers help. I use the tweezers and a knife, my fold-out knife, because it's got a really sharp point on it and helps me getting in there. But I do recommend it. I do recommend these skins from Camskns. Next, I'm actually going to be taking this one off and putting one on from AlphaGuard, just so I can see the difference between the two. I do have AlphaGuard on my Sony A7R IV, but again, I said I don't use it as much, so it doesn't get as much wear and tear on it. And I do have an AlphaGuard on my 24-70 lens, and that's holding up really well. I do find that the seams on the AlphaGuard don't, you know, when you're wrapping it around something, they don't line up perfectly. There's a little gap in it. Probably no big deal, but there's probably no big deal to that. But you know, aesthetically, it kind of bugged me a little bit at first. It doesn't bother me anymore, but if that's something that might get to you, you might want to try something out. One of these other companies out, Camskns, but I do. Camskin was kind enough to send me this skin to do a review on it. I haven't been paid by them or anything like that, but they did supply the skin for me to do this review. And I'll tell you what, I will definitely purchase from Camskin again. I think they actually have stuff for your laptops and your drones. You know what, I might get one for my drone too, because that's pretty cool. I would like to have a little more sight with my drone, so maybe something bright orange or something would be kind of cool. But check them out. It's Camskns. It's let me tell you exactly how to spell it so I don't goof it up. It's CAMSKNS, Camskns. You just go to camskns.com. I'm gonna have a link down below once this video's out, and you know, I don't make any money off of it, so you can click on that link and go right to it and shop around, or you could just go directly to it, camskns.com, CAMSKNS. And the other one is AlphaGuard. I'll be doing a review on that next, and I will get that video out on installation. I did do an installation video on this, It's taken me a little while to get to it. I've got a lot of work on my plate right now. I'm gonna actually edit this one a little quicker because it's a shorter video. The other one's well over an hour. It says they say they take like a half an hour to install. It doesn't take a half. I mean, not for me. Maybe for somebody that does it every day, it'll take half an hour. But for me, it took over an hour, about maybe 5-10 minutes over an hour. So it's quite a process. And as you can see, I didn't even do it all. You know, I left some of the areas off because it's more comfortable to me. But it's worth it, and it's fun. You know, any time that you can spend with your camera, whether you're learning on it, shooting it, or just dialing it in, you know, pimping it out, I enjoy it a lot. So I do anything that I can. I'm doing with photography. It's the only way to learn, and it just happens to be one of it. You know, so it's an experience. All right, so thank you, and if you could like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate that. I'm going to be making some more videos. Apologize for this ugly ass wall behind me, and we'll see you on the next round. Thanks. Have a great day.